During the keynote, Pichai dropped an insane statistic. Google is now processing over 3.2 quadrillion tokens per month. And just a year ago at I/O 2025, that number was 480 trillion. The usage scale is exploding, and because of the new massive 8th generation tensor processing units, they're able to deploy models at a scale that is genuinely hard to wrap your head around. We have a lot of massive things to cover today, and I'm going to get straight into it. Starting things off, let's talk about the absolute most disruptive announcement from the internet: the total redesign of the Google search box. So this is the first time that Google has fundamentally changed the search bar in over 25 years. The simple white box where you would type in a keyword and hit enter is essentially dead at this point, and it's been replaced by an interactive multimodal AI search box powered by the new Gemini 3.5 Flash model. The entire discipline of SEO for the last 2 decades was built around the assumption that people type short, imprecise fragments into a box. So for example, you would type flights in NYC to LA or best running shoes 2026, and Google's job was to interpret that fragment and give you 10 blue links. Now Google is actively dismantling that habit by implementing the new search box, which physically expands and is built for deep conversations. So you don't have to translate your thoughts into keyword S anymore. You can literally just drag and drop a PDF of your diet plan or attach a photo of what is inside your fridge, drop in your Google Calendar and just say plan my meals for this week and order the missing ingredients. Google Gemini will piece it all together and then generate a plan and actually buy the groceries using their new universal cart integration. They also introduced something called information agents, and instead of you constantly refreshing a website to see if a specific pairs of shoes are in stock or manually tracking real estate listings, you just set up the information agent directly in the search box. The AI will create a plan, track listings across the entire internet 24/7, and ping you when your highly specific requirements are met. And to be fair, for the consumer, this is amazing. It saves you so much time, but obviously the ripple effect is wild because when you look at the developer and SEO forums on Reddit and Twitter, publishers are in full panic mode right now. If Google's AI had the entire transaction directly in the search bar, no one is ever clicking through a blog or an independent website ever again. And you have a multi-trillion-dollar tech giant basically hoarding all the traffic for itself. And this is definitely a massive leap in convenience, but it might literally break the financial model for the open web. And honestly, we have no idea what the effects of this are going to be. This is still in the early phases and it's just being launched now. I'm really curious to see what this does to online businesses like e-commerce stores and whatnot, and we're gonna just have to see what happens. Next up, we have what Google is calling their most ambitious project yet, Gemini Spark. And this is not a chatbot. Gemini Spark is a 24/7 cloud-based personal AI agent that runs continuously in the background of your life. So unlike normal AI that only responds when you prompt it, Spark actively thinks, plans, and executes workflows entirely on its own. Because it's running on Google's cloud, it continues to work even when your phone is turned off or you're completely offline. Google built this with the Model Context Protocol, MCP, baked directly into it. So that means that right out of the gate, Spark connects to all of Google's workspace. So Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Slides, and over 30 third-party tools like Adobe or Dropbox, Uber, and even OpenTable. The use cases they showed were absolutely insane. So say you're running a small business. You can set up Spark to monitor your incoming customer emails. It will read them, flag the urgent ones, and then draft a polished response in a Google Doc, and then prepare the email draft for you to approve. Or you can have it monitor your monthly credit card statements and automatically alert you if it detects a hidden fee or a weird subscription charge. So now the obvious question everyone in the AI community is immediately asking: what stops this autonomous agent from doing some crazy stuff like spending all of your money or sending a wild email to your boss? Now, again, this is a lot like OpenClaw and Hermes Agent, and you can say the same things for those as well. But Google's answer to this was the Agent Payments Protocol, or AP2. And this is essentially a strict sandbox framework, and that imposes a hard limit on the Spark on what it can spend, which merchants it's actually able to interact with, and what it's able to purchase. So it also requires explicit permission prompts before doing anything high stakes, but the Agent Payments Protocol will definitely be helpful in preventing it from doing some crazy stuff that you do not want it to do. Now, the catch here is that it is incredibly compute heavy. Having a frontier level model scanning your data 24/7 obviously will require massive server power. And because of that, Gemini Spark is currently locked behind the Google AI Ultra subscription and is currently rolling out to some beta testers in the US. The tech is undeniable though, but handing over the keys to your entire digital life to a cloud agent is definitely going to cause some major privacy debates over the next few months. Quick side note, they actually lowered the price of the Google AI Ultra plan to around $100 a month. So if you wanted to get in on this deal, you guys can hop on it right now. So along with the massive back-end capabilities, Google completely overhauled the front-end user experience for the Gemini app, and I have to say I absolutely love it, and it might actually get me back into using Gemini. It's not just in the app, it's also in the web interface, but they introduced what their design team is calling the Neural Expressive Design. I gotta say, visually, it's a massive upgrade, and the app now features these incredibly smooth and fluid animations and vibrant dynamic colors that shift based on the context, brand new typography, and it's deeply integrated haptic feedback. So it feels significantly more premium than the previous version, which honestly felt like a sterile beta test, if I'm being honest, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree with me on that. But the standout feature of this new redesign is something called the Daily Brief. So this ties directly into the push for proactive AI. Daily Brief sits right on your home screen or within the app, and it acts as an automated morning dashboard. So without you asking it anything, it aggregates your entire digital life overnight. So when you open it, it gives you a synthesized summary of your most important emails, your upcoming schedule, pending tasks from your project management tools, and even relevant news based on your current projects. So it's taking Gemini from being a reactionary tool when you have to ask it a question and get value, and turning it into a proactive dashboard. So instead of opening 6 different apps every morning to figure out what you need to do, like Notion or Google Calendar, whatever you guys are currently using, Daily Brief essentially automates all that. It does all the heavy lifting and presents it to you in one unified AI curated feed. So the developer community reaction has definitely been interesting. People love the UI polish. It's a very fast UI, and it's visually stunning, of course. But there is that lingering reality check for Daily Brief. To actually be useful, you kind of have to give it, Google Gemini unfettered access to your inbox and your calendar and your to-do list. And it's sort of a trade-off because you're trading a massive chunk of your personal data privacy for unparalleled convenience. And for a lot of average Joes trying to survive, the corporate grind, that trade-off is definitely worth it. But if you're just, a privacy advocate, then the entire feature is probably your worst nightmare. We're going to shift gears entirely into the creative space because Google dropped a massive bombshell with the announcement of Gemini Omni. So this is their brand new next generation multimodal model family, and Google didn't just call it a video generator, they are specifically classifying it as a world model. During the keynote, DeepMind CEO Demis Habbissis described Omni as a massive step forward because of how it processes data. Gemini Omni takes the technologies behind all of the previous isolated projects, VO for video, Nano Banana for images, and Genie for gaming, and merges it all into one unified brain. So unlike standard AI video generators that just take a text prompt and spit out a hallucinated video, Omni is actually processing the text and the visuals and the audio and video references simultaneously. The most important part of this is actually the physics grounding. Google trained Omni to actually understand real-world physics concepts, and it understands gravity, fluid dynamics, motion, and energy interactions. So when you generate a video of a glass of water spilling, the water actually behaves like water. Or it splashes and pools correctly instead of just morphing into weird AI soup like we are used to seeing in other models. I will say, after doing some testing on my own and also, reviewing some other videos of other people testing it, it's definitely not a Seedance 2.0 killer. It's still a frontier model, but it's definitely not up there beating Seedance 2.0. It's around the same level as Kling 3.0. And on the screen, I have some examples of what it's able to do, as well as some of the prompts that we've used. And you can clearly see it's definitely good, but it's just not necessarily the best one out there yet. If you guys are interested in AI video, you guys can keep a lookout for Seedance 2.1, which is rumored to be coming out pretty soon. And they're also going to be releasing a new Seedance Lite model, which is going to be a little bit cheaper than Seedance 2.0 and also a little bit faster. So you guys can keep your head out for that. Going back to VO4, the conversational editing feature is a total game changer. You can generate a scene and then use your voice to tell the AI, for example, change the lighting to sunset or make the main character wear a red jacket instead. And Omni is actually able to modify the scene while maintaining perfect character consistency and spatial continuity. They're integrating this directly into YouTube Shorts as well and YouTube Create, which means the barrier to entry for creating high-fidelity studio quality video content has officially dropped to 0. So if you have an idea, Gemini Omni can manifest it accurately. Now we're going to talk about the developer stuff because Google officially launched Gemini 3.5 Flash, which is replacing the 3.1 model as the default across the Gemini ecosystem. So as I've talked about in previous videos, 3.5 Flash is incredibly fast and it's outperforming GPT 5.5 on several coding benchmarks. But it's notoriously token hungry and it thinks in massive systems, which makes it perfect for agentic coding. But that brings us to Anti-Gravity 2.0. Google completely unified their fractured coding tools into one abashed agent-first IDE platform. It comes with a new command line interface and a standalone desktop app, and the thing that absolutely stole the show at I/O 2026 was the live demo. So Google's VP of Engineering came on stage and revealed that they assigned Anti-Gravity 2.0 a ridiculous challenge, which is building a new operating system from scratch. They set up 93 separate AI subagents to work directly on different parts of the architecture simultaneously, and according to the logs, the agents generated 2.6 billion tokens and built the core framework of a working operating system in just 12 hours. The total cost of the API compute was under $1,000. But it gets wilder than that because live on stage, they booted up this AI-generated operating system and tried to run the classic video game Doom on it. So initially it crashed because the OS didn't have any keyboard drivers. Instead of a human fixing it though, they literally just prompted Anti-Gravity on stage, write and implement the missing keyboard drivers, and the agents generated the code live, compiled it, and injected it into the OS. And a minute later, they were playing Doom on an operating system built entirely by artificial intelligence. So the developer community reaction to this was pure shock, because when you read the threads on Hacker News, senior engineers are impressed by the orchestration, but entry-level developers are genuinely terrified right now. And if a team of AI agents can cooperate to build a functional OS kernel in 12 hours, then the traditional junior developer role of writing boilerplate code is officially dead. You are no longer writing code, you are managing a swarm of AI workers. And finally, Google wrapped up the event by pushing Gemini out of their phones and directly onto our faces. They previewed their new audio-powered smart glasses, built in partnership with eyewear brands Warby Parker and Gentle Monster. These function very similar to the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, but they are fully powered by Gemini's AI ecosystem. The glasses have cameras and microphones that constantly take in their surroundings, and you can look up at a menu in a foreign language and ask the glasses to translate it in your ear. You can even look at a broken sink and Gemini will vocally walk you through the steps of exactly how to use a wrench and how to fix the pipe. Combined with the updates to Android XR, Google is aggressively pushing towards a reality where the AI is constantly seeing what you see and hearing what you see. So it ties perfectly into their overarching theme of the agentic era because the AI isn't a tool that you go to, it is a companion that exists alongside you in the physical world. Overall though, Google I/O 2026 was an absolute masterclass in demonstrating scale. They are not just releasing cool features anymore. They are literally rebuilding the infrastructure of how humans interact with technology. Tracing back to Gemini 3.5 Flash, if you guys want to have access to that, you guys can use it right now in their app or through an API. Also, keep in mind that Gemini 3.5 Pro will be out pretty soon. They said that it should be out within the next month or so. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. But with that being said, if you guys want to stay up to date with all the newest AI news, make sure you guys follow All Things AI. Have a good day.